One of the ways we get fooled is time. Do you remember when we went to kindergarten and the point was to go to first grade and second grade and third grade like that, till we get to high school? And when we get to high school, it's such a great transition in life. It's a huge transition in life. And the pressure is put on. We must get ahead. We must push on until we're good enough to get to college. And then when we get to college, the pressure is also put on so that we can go out into this famous world. And after we're done with college and we go out finally into this famous world, there's a pressure put on to succeed in business or profession. And so there's this sort of ladder that is in front of us in which we're constantly climbing, and we're constantly trying to achieve that success. And this goes on. And one day in the middle of life, when we're 40, 45 years, we say to ourselves, I've arrived. That's it. Although you just actually feel a little bit cheated because, see, you were fooled. You're always living for somewhere where you aren't. And while it's of tremendous importance for us to be able to look ahead in the future and plan, there is no use planning for a future in which when we get there and it becomes the present, you won't be there. You would be living in some other future. You can't live at all unless you learn to live fully now. Man is a time-binding creature, which means they're able to look at life, look at time, to say, as if it were a line from the past through to the present and into the future. And if there is no guarantee that the future can be pleasurable, we live in a sort of chronic anxiety, even if we're in the middle of pleasure or affluence. But there's something that we have to radically accept. And we have to radically accept that life is suffering. Life is pleasure, but life is also suffering. And I heard that from the great Buddha. If you don't know the story about Buddha, he was a prince. He was a prince and he was going to be a great king. And his parents, his family had sheltered him from the craziness and the pain of the world. And so one day he turned 29 years old and he was like, you know what? I'm going to go out into this famous world. And he went out and he saw a dead man, he saw a sick man, and he saw a very old man. And he was just like, wow. So there's nothing I can do about this. This is going to happen to me. It's going to happen to my loved ones. And he left his family, his wife, his children behind. He left his, all his family behind and began on the spiritual path. And one day he was just, walking and he saw a man meditating under a tree. And the man looked so peaceful, and this just struck Buddha in such a way. And so he began his own journey to enlightenment. And he began to meditate. And in the first 20-something days, he overcame the great obstacles in his mind. Because as I was saying, time is an illusion. And if you're constantly living in the future, waiting for something to happen in the future in order for you to be happy, you live in a maya. You live in this illusion. And that just brings suffering. And how do we deal with the suffering? Radically accepting that life is suffering and being in the present moment. So I have one challenge for you. If you're up for it today, I want you to look in your surroundings, because all is mind. The universe is mental. I want you to look into your surroundings. Look for one thing that puts a smile on your face. Look for one thing that that you like, that you'll find pleasure in. It could be looking at the birds. It could be writing with a pen that writes well, and so that makes things a little bit easier for you, and you like that. It could be absolutely anything. You determine. Thank you so much for listening, and share this video if it struck a chord with you, and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Namaste.